Have mercy. Hedge us about, Most High. Father, don't let your heritage be destroyed and annihilated by these evil, wicked doers. But in the one who's bringing the perils upon the world, that means grievous times, troublous times, is able to save those who fall into it. And yeah, it's hard times, difficult times for a lot of people. Okay. But none of that is going to deter our faith and deter us from giving the praise and the homage to the Most High. Okay. Because we believe that he's able to do exceedingly abundantly more than we ask or even imagine. But do you want to see prophecy? We've seen that. I just brought it down. That they become estranged. They begin to start acting different. They took up this thing that was supposed to be knowledgeable, right? So man in his essential state, i.e., as we find him since the fall. We're still talking about since the fall. This is why everyone has to be born again. They have to be in Hamashiach, because if not, your fallen nature will overcome you. And that's why Paul says, I die daily. In man's essential state, i.e., as we find him since the fall, he is far removed from his state prior to the fall. Rather than dwelling in essential wholeness, having it all together, his nature and environment have been fractured and forces opposed to his well-being. Let me say it again, forces. Now, if you don't know that there's forces all around that you can't see, then you're not even on the right path to armor up. When I say armor up, I'm talking about this battle's not against flesh and bones. Okay? It's more than just finances. And though we need finances to operate, it's more than that. There's entities, there's forces at work here in the invisible who are against your turn. Okay? And they will turn you against, I said it, the man against the woman against the man. Everybody's pointing fingers. Now, she did it, he did it. Listen, the parents is like, the children caused me to do it. So I know I'm hitting a lot, but it all revolves around the here and the now. Okay? So the job of the priest or the patriarchs, remember, Melchizedek was both king and priest. Adam was what? He was the ruler. You have to understand and know this, that dominion was given to Adam. But the moment that they broke God's commandment, what the Most High meant for them, they didn't have to labor to do nothing. He already intended to give them that. What did the devil convince them of? Oh, listen, the Most High didn't give, he left this part out right here. So in the Bible, the patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and I just showed you the patriarchs before them, where they got it from, were pivotal figures, exactly what I said. They played a vital role in establishing the lineage of who? The Israelites, and laying the foundation for their covenant with the Almighty. Their stories, particularly in the book of Genesis, highlights their role as individuals chosen by the Most High to receive promises and blessings that would be passed down through their descendants. They were also seen as leaders within their family. So who do you think the devil's going to go after? It says, and communities. So what we see in the world right now, communities have been devastated because the leaders, the priests, the righteous, they've taken everything from them. And now the world's not looking at someone who really upholds them. In communities responsible for transmitting faith in the Most High's word to future generations. We going in. It don't get no more plainer than that. Carrying. But our Heavenly Father knows. So I'm hoping by laying this down before we go into a word of prayer, and I'm praying that, I never quench the spirit, but I'm praying that it'll be to the point and much will be said with few words. But with that being said, so we see that it was upon the environment, the whole earth and its atmospheric and environmental condition changed. Animals apparently became vicious, okay, and increasingly vicious. Carnivorous, right? The whole earth groaned because of this new and negative thing called sin. Now, what was sin? If you all remember, sin was the misuse of the gift that the Most High gave to Adam and Eve, to each of us, to go overboard. Now we know that sin, according to 1 John 3 and 4, is the transgression of the Most High's law. You think the world wants to hear being told that they're sinning? No one wants it for the most part. Okay, but those who we, the Most High's children, we do humble ourselves and we accept it. We take that chastisement. We take it. So it says, look at this. So this thing brought upon this negative thing called sin. And even to this day, yes, even to this day, mankind seeks release from its hold. That's Romans 8, 22 and 23. The whole creation groaned, waiting for the sons of Ahiah to come back. And yes, right, yes, Israel, we are those sons. We see inwardly the results, plural, were more or even more devastating, for something beside his innocence died in him or in them. Something more than innocence died in man the day he sinned. So the moment that even children, when we grow up and we begin to sin, I talked about that. I said that on Words of the Wise. Do you ever think to the time when you appear, like, looking from this vantage point, like, man, I wish I had never done that. I mean, in the thing, because the Most High is so good. Not saying, I know how some people can view that. Well, you're looking at, you wish you had never done that. Who he think he is, who she think they is, right? Not like that, but to the point, like, man, it's that yearning, that desire to just to be righteous, right? Or to be innocent in his sight. So for something beside his innocence died in man the day he sinned, Genesis 2 and 17, their hearts, meaning their minds, listen to this, their minds continue to beat, and their soul and bodies continue to function. Remember 2 Ezra 3 and verses 19, your glory passed through the four gates of fire and earthquake and wind and ice to give the law to the descendants of Jacob, to whom nowadays we live in a time now that it's just all, most people say it's just done away. All I got to do is just believe in Jesus, right? So all I have to do is believe in Jesus, the love of Jesus, and I'm saved, right? When yet all these things have happened and befallen mankind and many people, right? Because many people are bamboozled and taken by not knowing the importance of keeping the Most High's law, which cannot be done away with. Okay. And so we are to establish it. Okay. Christ, HaMashiach coming doesn't take away the law. No, by obeying the Most High, we establish the faith. Okay. Not use our grace so that we can sin. Stick with me though. So verses 19 says, so he came, or the Most High's glory passed through those four gates to give the law to the descendants of Jacob. That's us right now who are reporting to you now, looking at biblical and Bible prophecy, looking at what they would call theology, to understand that the Most High knows his times. Staying on point. In your commandment to the posterity of Israel, yet you did not take away their evil heart from them, so that your law might produce fruit in them. For the first Adam, burdened with an evil heart, transgressed and was overcome, as were also all who were descended from Adam. Okay, thus the disease became permanent. The law was in the hearts of the people along with the evil root. So what is his law for? His law is a testimony. It's the path to get us back on. Remember, the law was the schoolmaster to lead us to Hamashiach. Yahshua is the walking, talking, personified law. And when we take on his spirit, he obeyed the Most High. He kept every one of what the Most High said to do. He never disobeyed the Most High, right? So when we begin to keep the Most High's law like he intended to, the Bible tells us in what? Proverbs 4 and verses, help me Most High. Proverbs 28 and 4. Those who forsake the law, and we ain't doing that. And those that keep the commandment, we contend with them. So any times that we see ourselves forsaking the Most High law and praising the wicked, we repent immediately. I'm not saying that I don't, I haven't sinned or I don't sin against the Most High. But I'm saying when the Most High's word is there for correction, that's what the law is for reproof and correction, that the man of God, the people of God, are thoroughly furnished. Now, what are you going to do with it now that you have it? Are you going to let the theologians and the replacement theologists talk you out of it and by default be a part of their judgment when the Most High judgment comes? So look at the state of man. This is the state of man after the fall. So it says here, their hearts continue to beat and their souls and their bodies continue to function, but their spirit died, i.e. was separated from the Most High, and their communion and acceptance by the Most High was lost. It tells us that, and it tells us here in the Wisdom of Solomon in chapter 1. I'm going to read it to us really quick, just so we can put it on our mind. It says, chapter 1 and verses 3. For perverse thoughts separate people from the Most High, and when his power is tested, it exposes the foolish, because wisdom, Ruach Kodash, will not enter a deceitful soul or dwell in a body enslaved to sin. For a holy and disciplined spirit will flee from deceit. Just what I said. Didn't say that I never, the devil is playing off of our ignorance. So when you look at your children and your grandchildren and your brothers and your sisters, your parents, your grandparents, whoever, he's playing off of their ignorance. Ignorance just means they don't know. Now, some people don't want to know. And if they don't want to know, who am I or who are any of us to tell them anything? Now, one more amazing thing took place. Upon their fall, something new was born in the minds or in the hearts of Adam and Eve. This new thing was called conscience. Conscience. When they partook of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, their eyes were open to the world of law and morals. They received the knowledge of right and wrong. Just like I told us, when as a child, once you grow up, once you are, how do you say this? Once you are of age and know morally right from wrong, that's when you are accountable. And if you make a mistake as a child and just, in your innocent state, you didn't know that, right? But once you become of age and now you begin to know, and it seems like mankind has been given some time to practice it, to hone their skills, to get what we want, to get our ways, to know the things that we like and the things that we dislike. So when they partook of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, their eyes were open to the world of laws and morals. They received the knowledge of right and wrong. Genesis chapter 2, verses 17, Genesis chapter 3, verses 7 and onwards. Conscience means with knowledge. They knew what they were doing. That's the same thing that Second Ezra 7 in verses 71, I believe. It says here, but now understand from your own words, for you have said that the mind grows with us. Your conscience grows with you. So they had this thing, the conscience. This knowledge or conscience throughout the fall of man, innate, not only in Adam, this became innate not only in Adam and Eve, but became deeply and irrepressibly ingrained in mankind. There is no surer proof of this than the presence of a conscience in every single person. And that word innate, by definition, an innate behavior, that says an innate behavior is genetically built into an organism rather than learned. Hold on. So they took on that part. Existing in one from birth, inborn, native, innate, inherent in the essential character of something. That meant that we took on a carnal nature, an innate defect and the hypostasis originating in or arising from the intellect or the constitution of the mind, rather than learned through experience, and innate knowledge of good and evil. Wow. Lastly, but certainly not least, the presence of a conscience which constantly reveals to man his failing to measure up to the Most High's law produces guilt, okay, or conviction. Mankind's history is replete with the tragic truth that guilt is the force behind untold human or mankind's misery. It was for the removal of this condemnation that Hamashiach came, bringing to man the hope and gift of salvation. So now I want to segue over to redemption now. I need to lay that definition down. So we see that, yeah, you're going to be aware that, wait a minute, you have a conscience of right and wrong. And that, yeah, listen, you fail. I fail. We fail up to live up to the measure. But the Bible, Yasha instructs us, Matthew 5 and I believe 48 or 47, be ye perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect. That means to be what? Whole. That means to be mature. But when man sinned, they fell from being whole. So it tells us that in order for us to be made whole again in this time, we need to come to the Most High through the dearly beloved Son of His Son, Yeshua HaMashiach, and learn to take of Him, to see that He is meek. See, He is our priest. He is the mediator between man and the Most High. And look at this here. Okay, so now for us to get this, we understand that there's a sacrifice that needs to be done. That's why I wanted to play you atone for me, my king and priest. Yasha HaMashiach save me. You are the mighty hand of the Most High. So in other words, family, just like Melchizedek was what? King and priest. That was what the Most High intended from the very beginning. That makes Adam what? He was both king and priest. A man is the priest of his house. Are we seeing this? So every man, wherever you men are, the priest can call unto the Most High. Okay? I'm talking about the Most High's priest.